Welcome to the New Year, New You Transformation Challenge video. I first want to thank each and every one of you for signing up for the challenge. Last time we did a challenge like this, it was awesome. It produced some seriously amazing results, and I think this one is going to be even better. Last time, instead of a video, we had a meeting about all the nutrition stuff and everything that went into it, but finding a time where everybody could meet was almost impossible. So this year you can watch this video at your leisure. Have your manual with you while you do it. Print that out. Feel free to take notes, write down questions. I'm happy to answer any questions you have at any point. Call me, text me. I love talking about this stuff. But I'm beyond excited about the challenge. So let's jump right into the information. And hopefully you learn quite a bit here and get a lot of your questions answered. This is just a little bit of legal stuff here that our lawyer just insists that we put in here, so go ahead and read through that. I won't lull you to sleep on a video. The rules for the Team Transformation Challenge, well, I still have your attention. I won't read you all of these, just read through them on your own, but I do want to highlight a couple of them that are in yellow there. First of all, you need to attend 14 training sessions. There are 24 total. You paid for 3 a week for 8 weeks, which would be 24 sessions. In order to qualify for the cash payouts and be the winner of the Transformation Challenge, you have to make at least 14 of those training sessions. I would recommend that you make a lot more than that, but you can miss up to 10 and still end up winning the competition. You won't be disqualified. If you make less than 14 training sessions, you will be disqualified. And the other one is weigh-ins. We don't want you to miss a weigh-in. If you do miss a weigh-in, you will be disqualified. This one we can be a little bit more flexible with as far as vacations and those kinds of things go. I know one person is going on a ski trip, so we've talked about her weigh-in that week. If you're not going to be there, say we do weigh-ins on a Thursday and you're not going to be there, we can do it on a Wednesday. Just make sure that you communicate that to me, excuse me, so that we can get you weighed in and you don't get disqualified for something stupid. And I will do my best to communicate to you that if you're going to be gone or whatever, I'll give you a couple days warning, every weigh-in, things like that. So the other thing there, just take a look at the times available for assessments. This is also in an email that I've sent you. But just read through those rules. There's one more that I just want to touch on. In order for you to win, you do have to turn in a before picture and an after picture. Those don't go into determining the winner, but if you don't turn those in, you're not eligible to win. Also, you have to turn in a written statement, just a 2 or 3 or 4 sentence statement, just talking about your experience training with us, what your experience was like in the Transformation Challenge. So not too difficult, not too high standards to make. Just make sure that you do all those, and I'll remind you multiple times throughout the Transformation Challenge about those things. Just a little bit about our challenge here. Just read through that stuff, and then about getting fit. There's kind of a hierarchy of fat loss and getting fit. Hormones is going to play the biggest part in that, and unfortunately we can't do anything about hormones. That's outside of our realm. So obviously if there's an issue there, you would have to go to a doctor or a specialist. Nutrition is the #1 thing that has the biggest impact that we can control. So we're going to spend a lot of time on nutrition. Physical activity would come next, and then rest, recovery, regeneration, the 3 R's as we call them. And then supplementation as part of your nutrition would be the last thing that we have control over that makes a impact on the fat loss process. So nutrition, the biggest thing I want you to take away from this page, and you can read through this and just get a little bit about our nutrition system here, but the biggest thing I want you to take from this is that we want you to be at 90% compliance on your diet, and we'll talk about what that is, how you track it, and those kinds of things. So the main keys to dieting success, these are 5 keys that over the course of a few years working with clients over the internet and in person, these are kind of the 5 that I've come up with, that if people have all 5 of these in order, their chances for success go way up. By the same token, if 1 or 2 or more of these is out of kilter, then the chances for failure increase greatly. So get these 5 in order. Even if you don't nail down some of the details of your diet, get these 5 in order. Number 1, prepare all your food for the week. That means cook, chop, clean, whatever you need to do to your food to get it ready to go for the week. Number 2, keep a food log religiously, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here in the end here. Use your check sheet religiously, and I'll show you what that looks like here later in this video. Don't make your own rules. This might be the one, this is probably the one that'll get people more than any other. If there's some little part of the system that they don't like or whatever the case is, and so they kind of make up their own rule, a lot of times it'll really wreck their diet, and they won't lose fat at the rate that they would like. So just make sure you don't make your own rules. And then the other thing is just jump in with both feet. Don't look back. Don't sit on the side of the pool with your toes in the water. We want to jump in and not look back. And I've worked with people that are afraid to jump in because they're so afraid they're going to fail again on another diet. If you jump in and you follow the diet, you won't fail, barring some sort of weird hormonal issue. If you won't fail if you follow all these keys and you follow all the rules to the diet and you jump in with both feet, you won't fail on this diet. So again, just make sure that you have these 5 keys in order. It doesn't matter what else we do. If one of these goes, your chances for success go way down. So jumping right into phase 1 of the diet, weeks 1 and 2 make up phase 1, so it's only 2 weeks long. There are no calorie restrictions during this phase, although with that said, we don't want you to undereat during this phase, and we'll kind of go over what undereating is for you and this and that here in a second, but we just want to make sure during phase 1 we clean up the diet. That's the main focus of phase 1, is especially people that didn't have a very clean diet to begin with. We want to really start to clean that up and really start to burn some fat because of our clean diet. So number 1 rule, eat 4 meals a day. Number 2, eat lean protein in every meal. Protein has a huge impact on your metabolism, and from a few different angles. So make sure that you eat lots of protein during this phase. Eat a vegetable with every meal. This can sometimes get people. Frozen vegetables, I would not recommend canned, although it's better than nothing. I would prefer a fresh or frozen. You can go steamed if you would like. I steam my frozen vegetables quite often, so you could use some steamed vegetables there. Just don't overcook them. Number 4, eat healthy fats in each meal. We don't want a ton of healthy fats, but we do want some healthy fats. And with these lists, there's food lists in your manual. We won't go over them on this video, but there are food lists in your manual. So go through those food lists and look at all the healthy fats, protein, vegetables, and those kinds of things. No drinks that contain calories, number 5. So no beer, soda, things like that. Eat 3 to 4 pieces of fruit daily. That means that if you're eating 4 meals, we would prefer you, to start with, that you eat a piece of fruit with each and every meal. Number 7, no starches except for the hour after a workout. So say if you're a 6:30 p.m. Person, we get done at about 7:15 or a little earlier. So from 7:15 to 8:15, you can eat those starches if you would like. Don't go crazy on them, but you can have those starches, rice, potatoes, breads, those kind of things. Don't make it potato chips and Pop-Tarts or something like that, but you can have those starches during that time. We call it the power hour. It's the time when your body can take up those carbs and put them to good use, where most of the time they would not put them to as good a use as during that power hour. So number 8, eat whole foods and never processed foods whenever possible. That's kind of a no-brainer, but especially avoid sugary processed foods. They can halt fat loss like you can't believe. That'll lead us right into phase 2. There are calorie restrictions during this phase, and honestly, it's not really calorie restrictions. We look at more macronutrients, which is grams of protein, carbs, and fat. Calories don't always tell the whole story. And like I always say, if I were to eat 1,000 calories worth of Twinkies versus 1,000 calories worth of chicken breast, it's going to have a totally different effect on my body. So we go by macronutrients, and it's a little easier to calculate once you get used to it as well. So The rules are pretty much all the same now, but now we're going to kind of key in on how much of each of those macronutrients that we eat. And it's important, especially in this phase, to keep your check sheet and to keep your food log so that you know the amounts that you're eating. Also, with this phase, I will say a lot of people, not a lot, but a decent amount of people in our last challenge skipped phase one altogether and just jumped to phase two, because in phase one we say don't undereat. And there were some people that were like, well, how do I know whether I'm under eating or not? So we gave them the cheat sheets. They looked at the amounts they should have been eating, and they just jumped right to phase two with the amounts they were supposed to be eating. If you would like to do that, I certainly don't have a problem with it. The only reason we split those two phases up is because a lot of times, especially somebody that really has a trashy, poor diet to start with, it's very overwhelming for them to, number one, clean their diet up, but on top of that, have to measure out amounts and those kinds of things. So it's really up to you. You could split phase one and phase two and do it in two phases, or you could just jump right into phase two. That's really up to you. The first couple weeks of phase two sometimes can be a little bit difficult just because people are not used to measuring things out and having to watch amounts of what they eat. But after a week and a half or 2 weeks, people were on cruise control and they really started to drop some fat. So it was really neat.